appropriately, the lyrics are quite appropriate, aren't they? So we are here to celebrate Africa Day. And we shall do this, first of all, by inquiring from some very knowledgeable, action-based change makers what it takes to move forward on this continent in these challenging times. To do so, we need to know how to build our personal capacity and inner strength so that we're able to navigate these challenges. And we are hoping that through these discussions, this will be all revealed and also leave us with points of and advice on how we can improve our lives on our daily, day-to-day basis. So first of all, a quick introduction of myself. My name is Kiori Mburadhi. I am a practicing architect. I've been running my own company for about 16 years and living in Nairobi in Kenya and working mostly from there. I'm also a practicing Raj Yogi. So I'm a meditator, daily meditator. I facilitate classes as well and I run a couple of programs as well. So that's my life of service. And then I am also a total music and person lover. So that's a little brief introduction of who it is that is speaking to you. So I know a lot of you have the question, what is Africa Day? I actually wasn't aware of it until about a year and a half ago when one of the organizers of this program, Vikram, told me about it and alerted me of it. And so Africa Day actually is the annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity, which happened on the 25th of March, 1963. It is celebrated in various countries on the African continent, as well as around the world. The organization, formerly known as Organization of African Unity, was transformed into the African Union on the 9th of July, 2002 in Durban, South Africa. But the holiday continues to be celebrated on the 25th of May. So this program is actually joint between the Brahma Kumaris and the African Union, which is why we're celebrating Africa Day on this particular date. So to give a little introduction on who the co-host, the Brahma Kumaris are, we've prepared a little video to share so that you can have some background information on exactly what the Brahma Kumaris is. If I could ask that to be put on now.
Zakir, can you just continue for some moments? We'll get it.
Sorry?
Can you just continue for some moment?
Absolutely, absolutely. As you guys can see, I'm appropriately dressed for Africa Day. Very nice, look at that, look at that, look at that. So this is actually from Ghana. So I'm representing the West and East Coast as we speak. I don't know where, I'm sure a lot of you are from all over the continent, and wherever you are, a very, very hearty, warm, loving welcome as we celebrate this special day. And you know, for a while now, I would say about 6-7 years, on the global mainstream, there's been a lot of talk about Africa Rising, hasn't there? We haven't been very good with our public relations over the past 300 years. And of course, we know there's several reasons for that, of course, but that is shifting. And one of the things that is shifting, which is very exciting, is Africa is finally getting to write its own story. And we're doing this through the music output that we are beginning to see, not beginning to see, in fact, over the past, I would say 10, 15. I mean, South Africa is ahead of everybody else, I have to say, because they've been doing it, they've been expressing themselves since the moment of in a contemporary manner. Of course, Africa has been expressing itself perpetually, but in a contemporary manner, the South Africans really came to terms with their own culture and began expressing musically quite strongly in the late 90s, of course, and the break of apartheid obviously allowed them the means to vocalize that. But we are beginning to see, and what I'm talking about, especially in music, is for the longest time, it takes a while for a people or a person to come out of a stage, whatever stage they may be, whether it's teenage, midlife, historical. And it's taken Africa a while to overcome the post-colonial trauma. And one of the best examples of overcoming this post-colonial trauma is creating contemporary music that speaks for yourself and is a true representation of yourself. So not one that harkens back to the past and asks for that to be brought back, but one that actually processes, integrates, and accepts the past and now decides its own future. So we see that now happening in music in the West. Tanzania represents very strongly, Nigeria represents very strongly, and in fact, every country represents very strongly now in contemporary music, both across genres from electric to folk. And we are also seeing this happening through film and through writing, of course. And writing, of course, is one of the major tools that allowed us to come to terms with our past. So this is part of that renaissance, you can say, which is of Africans taking hold of their own narrative, repositioning themselves as global change makers and impactors, and presenting ourselves as we truly are, without shame, with pride. And Africa has a lot to offer, both in terms of culture, in terms of resources, and most importantly, in terms of people. The character of Africans is unique, it's loving, it's very accepting, it is very joyous. So I'll give you a short anecdote. Not too long ago, I was in Amsterdam, and I hadn't been to Europe in a very, very, very long time, probably like 15 years or something. And the first thing I noticed actually really illustrates this aspect about Africans. When we came out of the central station, there was thousands of people around, of course, because it was the central station of Amsterdam. And we were waiting for a connecting bus or something. And I noticed a huge difference between where I was 12 hours ago, which was Nairobi City, and Amsterdam City. In Amsterdam City, it was extremely quiet. People are very, very reserved, whereas in Kenya, you can hear the boda guy calling out to the peanut seller. You can hear the matatu conductors calling out to customers, oi, oi, boda, da, da, etc., etc. And there is a life, there's a thriving, joyous life that is natural in Africa, which is definitely one of our treasures, cultural treasures, and also behavioral treasures. So that's something that I noticed very, very, very strongly when I was away. Of course, each continent has its speciality. This is not to say that one continent is better than the other, not at all. We all have our own specialities, and for the longest time, Africa's specialities haven't been celebrated, and more importantly, we haven't been celebrating our own specialities. So welcome to Africa Day. That's what it is, a celebration of Africa and a way of charting a way forward. So I can see the video is now ready. So please enjoy this video on the Brahma Kumaris. Brahma Kumaris is a worldwide spiritual movement dedicated to personal transformation and world renewal. Founded in India in 1937, we currently have centers in over 110 countries on all continents. Our commitment is to help individuals transform their perspective of the world from the material to the spiritual. The work we do is founded on the understanding that our collective consciousness impacts our outer world. Hence, as the individual awakens a higher consciousness within and restores peace and dignity, it transforms families, societies, and nations. Our programs focus on meditation as practice to enhance this well-being. Supporting programs offered are on themes such as living harmoniously with people and planet, practicing values in daily life, positive thinking, and stress-free living skills. In 1974, the current regional director, Sister Vedanti, accepted the challenge of coming to Africa and establishing centers of meditation and spiritual learning. Today, we have centers in over 48 African countries in most major cities. All activities are organized and managed entirely by volunteers, and we often partner with civil society organizations to promote common upliftment goals. All activities are offered free of charge. Those who benefit from our programs often voluntarily contribute to continue sustaining our work. In 1985, we were part of an international project called Million Minutes of Peace, for which Brahma Kumaris Africa received a Peace Messenger Award from the United Nations. To continue in the spirit of Ubuntu, our common humanity, we initiated the Serve Africa project in 2004 until 2006. A bold vision and commitment to grow our activities beyond 16 countries in Africa, giving more people access to the teachings, resulting in that we now have 78 centers dotted across the continent. The stories of personal growth and the widespread positive reception within local communities of the services we offered was a testament of the impact of our work. Pause for Peace was a project conceived in 2007 as a response to the political crisis in Kenya. Almost 1,000 youth leaders from the slums and other institutions in Nairobi benefited, and this offered a tool for helping young people to engage with each other peacefully. As a result of the overwhelming success, Pause for Peace was promoted in 47 counties in Kenya and throughout Africa. As the Brahma Kumari's motto exemplifies, when I change, the world changes. We see ourselves as peace ambassadors, committed to transforming our world through personal change, one person at a time. So I hope that's given you a little overview of who the Brahma Kumaris are and what we do. So I would...
Before
Yes.
you continue, a request from all speakers this evening. We
Yes.
are having French being translated, so kindly speak a little slower so that our interpreter can be on par. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. So I would like to invite our first speaker, Sister Vedanti, who is the director of the Brahma Kumaris Africa. And she will give the opening address, which is based on the following topic: building capacity and inner strength through challenging times. Welcome, Sister Vedanti.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, my dear divine family. Today we're celebrating Africa Day. This is a very good news for us all that it's 60-year journey to do African Union, United Africa. I think whatever effort we all have done all this 60 years, so now it will be united, the world will be front of our eyes in a short time. Because originally I am from India, but last 48 years in Africa. And I'm enjoying each and every moment in Africa with the African family. In Africa, wherever I go, I experience that the family really wonderful and inviting me with so much love. Now we want to make it more and more powerful and positive. And we want to see the united Africa. What we need to do, very simple. We create a theme that love, peace, and unity within the self in each and everybody. And that only possible if we understand the self and the supreme. And if we connect our mind with the supreme, it is very, very easy. Whatever our aim, we get success. So I know that today we all are very happy to celebrate this wonderful day and 60th anniversary, we can say, of AU. Now, how we can make ourselves strong, that is very important, because we are doing sitting and meeting and eating and talking and sharing and planning. But if we want to bring it in positive way, 100% success, we need to go within to bring divine quality within the self, and we need to share that divine quality with love to humanity in Africa. I travel a lot, each and every country in Africa, and I keep aim that I want to share the love which I get from God. I should share with my old brothers and sisters. Love can move mountain, and love can transfer anybody, even 5 elements, even humanity, even negativity change in positivity. So I'm here in front of you all to give you more and more and more zeal and enthusiasm that whatever all this year we all have done, or whoever our brothers and sisters had done, we appreciate them. And with that zeal and enthusiasm, we do more and more and more. Success is our birthright. One day we will bring a united Africa in practical way, which can bring heaven on earth. So we have to be instrument. We have to keep aim that if I will change, world will change. We want to change the world, but it starts from within. Let me start to change myself. Let me go introvert. Let me connect my mind with the Supreme Father. Oh, Supreme Father, you are the Father of the world. You are only the one who can unite the whole world. Maybe we humanity have broken it, divided with our ego, with our vices, but you are the one. We are ready to leave our all negativity and be able to bring positive outcome surrounding individual. And yes, my God, we all are ready to support you, to help you, to change this world. And one day, this world will be heaven with love, peace, and unity. So good luck to everybody. Main message from my heart to you all, that become positive, powerful meditator, and give power of love to the humanity in Africa. Good luck. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
Thank you very much, Sister Vedanti, for that deep and practical advice of charging ourselves first and being the change that we want to see. And that can only come if we have that internal power to do so. And of course, love is the answer. So for my next participant, Mr. Mahendrarath Buskopal, I will ask you two things. One is to give us a very short introduction of who you are, just 5 sentences. And in those 5 sentences, you can mention your working position, something that you're working on currently, and then something about you that's outside of work as well. And then I shall ask you the leading question. Mr. Buskopal, first a short 5-sentence introduction.
Thank you, brother. So, Sister Vedanti and respected colleagues, greetings from African Union ECOSOC and greeting from Mauritius. Well, I am the Deputy Presiding Officer of the African Union ECOSOC Bureau, and I have also been the Secretary General of an NGO in Mauritius working for child and family welfare. And I have also been in partnership with Brahma Kumari in Mauritius.
Wonderful. Welcome, dear brother. So, a unified Africa has been a vision held since the founding statesmen from Nkrumah to Kaunda to Gaddafi.
Yeah.
Seeing that you work in the African Union and have the insider's view, just how unified is Africa at the moment? And the second part of the question is, what is the role of ECOSOC in fulfilling this vision?
Yeah, this is a very good question. And let me just try to tell you what I have written. So Africa Day holds a special place in our hearts, and we commemorate the foundation of the Organization of African Unity, a historic moment that brought the continent together. So today, we celebrate not only our collective identity, but also the rich diversity, cultures, and traditions that make Africa truly unique. It is a time to reflect upon the progress we have made, acknowledge the challenges we still face, and envision a future of prosperity and empowerment for all African citizens. This is what we are doing at African Union ECOSOC level. And I'll tell you that the message is going to all the African countries and also to all communities.
Excellent. So would you say that Africa is as united as it's ever been? I'll give you a very practical example. I know now we're thinking of making Swahili the continental language, which I think is a fantastic move.
It is. Definitely, it is what you are planning to do in Kenya concerning Swahili and other languages as well. I would also like to add the theme for this year's celebration is, as you just pointed out, Africa, opportunities in challenging times. This resonates deeply within our heart. Wherever we are, within the 54 countries in Africa, we find ourselves in a world that constantly presents us with trials and tribulations. However, it is during these very challenges that we have the opportunity to rise, tap into our inner strength, and manifest our true potential. I would also like to add, in these times of uncertainty, which I believe everybody can feel, it is essential that we build capacity and inner resilience. We must cultivate the values of unity, compassion, and understandings that lie at the core of our African heritage. We are all Africans. It is through dialogue and collaboration that we can find practical solutions to the pressing issues we face, be it in environmental challenges, youth empowerment, or peace building.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Busco-Paul. So a couple of very practical examples given there: inner resilience, the aspect of unity, which is a fundamental African heritage, absolutely. It is the divisions that generate a lot of negative feelings between each other. And we have that deep realization that we are actually one African family. It makes progress and development a lot easier. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would like to call on to our next guest, Mr. Divine Ntiokam. And like Mr. Busco-Paul, I would like, this is a two-part question. One is a short description of yourself and your role that you play, and then I shall ask you the leading question. Welcome, Mr. Ntiokam. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, thank you very much. Greetings from Cameroon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Ntiokam Divine is my name. I'm the founder and executive director for Climate Smart Agriculture Network Global. I'm equally happy to share with you all that I'm one of the Beyond Food System Summit champion appointed last couple of years by the Special Envoy to the Food System Summit. Thirdly, I'm equally one of the young Africans that was privileged to join efforts with the current DSG to design the current 17 SDGs back in 2012 with the UN Millennium Campaign, based in Kenya, today based in Bonn, called the UN Action Campaign. I just want to say that I'm so delighted to be here, and I'm looking forward to fruitful discussions.
Wonderful,
Over.
wonderful, wonderful. So my question is this, brother. What environmental challenges are we facing in Africa? That's part one. And more specifically, how is climate change affecting us?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, because we're talking about how to revamp Africa, how to ensure that the African people develop themselves. I think there's, first of all, an aspect of the mindset change. We first of all have to accept that we want to change. First of all, have to accept that we can build our continent by ourselves. The third thing, before I get to your question, is that the unity, harmony, and complementarity should be key if we want to transform Africa to the future we want, as per the Agenda 2063, which we want the Africa we want by 2063. Now, coming to your question, what are some of the environmental challenges? In fact, when we talk environment, I look at it as an ecosystem, and we all agree here that 65% of arable land is found in Africa, in the whole world. So leveraging the potential or the untapped potential, the youth demographic dividend, because Africa is the youngest population so far, and even by 2050, it's still going to be. So how do we ensure that we look into the innovative idea, the energy of these young people, using agriculture as the only source of transforming the continent? Let's learn to produce what we consume and to consume what we produce. For me, I think everything about environment or whatever, it has to do with that, because people are hungry, nothing's going to happen. If you're hungry, you won't talk about going to school. So I'll really say that the African Union is doing tremendous work with the Department of the Commissioner. I mean, seeing how we can actually look at climate change as an opportunity and not as a challenge. And that's why at the level of CSAYN, we'll be able to design very pertinent programs like children and youth in agriculture, which educates young people right back at the primary school, secondary school, university, and TVETs. And equally, we did not leave the woman behind. We have a program specifically targeting women and the girl child, women in agriculture for sustainable Africa. We all know that 90% of the food we eat today are being produced by women. So how do we ensure that they add value to these food systems? How do we ensure that we look at agriculture as a source of income and job employability to stem the rural urban migration and the young people leaving Africa to go to the global north? There is no continent richer than Africa. Africa, as you heard the anthem says that Africa is a tree of the world, you know? So let's all take this anthem, listen to it keenly, and implement at all levels, various levels, at community levels, and global level, or continental level. The last thing before I hand over to you, sir, we have developed several programs at the level of CSAY, and which has actually been able to address the changing climate. And looking at the job employability, we've actually made it clear and loud that agriculture is the only sector that employs as many people as possible. I will never speak without mentioning agriculture. I will not be talking here about engineering or whatever. I'll talk about agriculture because that's the best line, because agriculture will employ an engineer. So I just want to say that we are very, very happy to be part of this ceremony. We are very, very happy to join efforts with the foundation, and equally the Africans in the world to stand as one. Thank you very much, Bova.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ntiokam. And what I love and really felt from your sharing is the positive outlook on it as well. It's really wonderful, and that's what's needed for success to be generated in the future. So definitely keep it up, and I'll bring another question once we open it to the floor. Thank you. So next, I would like to call on Miss Gloria Hingoma, who is well, I'll actually allow her to tell you herself, allow her to speak for herself, like with the other two guests. Hi, Gloria. Like with the other two.
Hello.
Yes, yes, there you are. There you are. Welcome. Very, very welcome. Like with the other two, please give us a 5-sentence introduction of yourself and what you do, and then I shall ask the leading question. Welcome, Gloria.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity to be able to participate on this program, as well as on this day, Africa Day. My full names are Gloria Hingoma Malindi. I'm from Zambia. I'm the founder of Zambia Peace, Conflict Resolution and Development Initiative, which is a grassroots organization positioned itself to create awareness on peace and security issues in Zambia, as well as in the continent. I'm also a Rotary Peace Fellow at Makerere University. I'm spearheading a program, also a social change initiative on peace, human security, and peace education in Zambia. Thank you.
Wonderful. Welcome so much, Ms. Gloria Hingoma. So we believe that the youth are the hope of the future. So could you tell us what roles should and are the youth playing in creating a brighter future for Africa? And please do use yourself and your work as an example. Gloria? Gloria.
Hello, sorry?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Sorry, I mentioned. Yes, as we have already, yes, as we have heard in different forums and platforms of how youth can contribute meaningfully to peace building and social cohesion in various communities or countries. It is very important for me to actually highlight the importance of strengthening dialogue on the various challenges that youths in Africa face. And they face a number of challenges that destabilize them, especially when it is also compounded with various emergency or humanitarian emergencies, such as the threats to global health, conflict, violent extremism, HIV, and many other issues that actually intertwine with the structural vulnerabilities that we have seen prevalent in most African countries. So when it comes to youth and their role, we have seen also in various parts of Africa on how they have come up with innovative initiatives to try to address their various challenges that they face in their community. I'm a founder of Zambia Peace Conflict Resolution, of course, standing also for other youths out there in my country and in other communities in Africa that have shaped and also taken an initiative to face head on the challenges that they are facing. And with Zambia Peace Conflict Resolution and Development Initiative, it tries to target youth and women in terms of how we can leverage, opportunities that are there in terms of policy frameworks and legal frameworks, and also how they can be able to participate fully in decision-making positions. And this actually starts with advocacy for youth peace and security. So I have deliberate interventions that provide a platform through which we can advocate for youth peace and security agenda, and also strengthen the capacity of youth and women in terms of how they can develop locally led strategies in their communities on various challenges that they are facing. So for us, it is very important that we have a human security centered approach, focusing on youth and also other relevant vulnerable groups in our society to address the main challenges that they are facing that are inhibiting them to participate in decision-making in politics, and also other challenges that they can, address within the indigenous knowledge that they have within their communities. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Clearly you're very active, so thank you and keep up the good work. I'll ask another couple of questions when we're together in relation to that. But before that, I would like to now call on Miss Fatima Dike. And Fatima, I've had the great pleasure of meeting you, Fatima. I think you're the only of the other speakers that I've met. And you are truly a powerful, powerful individual, but I'll allow you to introduce yourself. And then I shall ask the leading question. Fatima, are we there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. Is it possible to put your, yes, it is. Is it possible to put your video on so people can have an idea of? Yes.
The video is on.
Oh, okay. Okay, please go ahead.
So, yes, good evening. And of course, my name is Fatima Dike, and I'm a playwright professionally. And right now, what I'm doing is I mentor young writers, new writers, handing over the skills that I've collected over the years since I started writing in 1976. And of course, as you know, the background of South Africa in those years was mostly based on the struggle for freedom. And so I'm focusing on young people, basically, who want to become writers. My other side is that I'm a student of the Brahma Kumaris, and I've been with the Brahma Kumaris for the last 28 years. And so this gives me a beautiful balance in that sense of understanding what the inner world of everyone needs in the world today. So I'm just going to stop there.
Fantastic. Welcome so much, Fatima. So my question is also two-part. One is, what is Ubuntu? Because we have heard of Ubuntu, but we always hear it without this full explanation, but we know it's African, we know it's a way of being, we know it has something to do with unity. So that's point one, what is Ubuntu? And then how do we integrate Ubuntu into our day-to-day lives? Please, Fatima.
Thank you. People sometimes talk about Ubuntu as a concept, and it is not a concept. Ubuntu is African spirituality. Ubuntu is virtue, because when you look at Ubuntu broadly, you will see that every action that people perform under the influence of Ubuntu brings out the virtues or the innate qualities of the soul. In Ubuntu, we have a phrase that we use, and it goes like this in isiXhosa: Umntu ngumuntu ngabantu. But then if you translate the same sentence into English, it says, I am because we are. Therefore, since we are, I am. So what Ubuntu does really, it teaches you to respect humanity. It teaches you that all of mankind are brothers and sisters. And that is the foundation of Ubuntu: to respect one another, to love one another, and to recognize the fact that we are all brothers and sisters in this world. What I'm going to say now is going to answer your second question. In the Xhosa language, there is a phrase that we use, and the phrase says, Masiye Embo. And it doesn't mean that there is a place called Embo. But what the phrase means really is, let us go back to who we were originally, before any kind of negativity touched us as human beings. Who were we? We were peaceful. We were loving. We were accommodating. And so this is where I feel that as Africans on this continent, we need to go back to those qualities of Ubuntu, because it is those qualities that will first and foremost create unity amongst the African people. As children, we are taught that you cannot eat until other children have eaten, which means we all have to eat together at the same time. And you'd find that in some communities, they would dish food in a large dish and give the kids spoons to eat. And the exercise of that was to teach the children not to be greedy. In other words, if I take my spoonful and put it into my mouth, I must wait for the other person next to me to do the same, so that we all eat equally and we all feel full equally. What has come up now in Africa is that we have been influenced by materialism quite greatly. And it has broken that chain that was created in the beginning by our ancestors, which is the chain of Ubuntu. Now everybody wants to be better than the other person. I want to have more possessions than the other person. And we have lost that kindness, that knowingness that we are all human beings and we all belong. And if I am greedy, somebody else suffers. We won't grow. So I am trying to say that I think that the philosophy of Ubuntu is something that should be taught in schools to the younger generation, so that they grow up understanding what unity is all about. They grow up understanding how to relate to one another. Because at the end of the day, if anything happens to us, we cry the same tears. Our tears are the same color. If you cut me, my blood is the same color as everybody else's blood. So I see Ubuntu as the foundation of unity in the continent of Africa. I see Ubuntu as the building block on which unity can be based on in the continent of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fatima. Some very important points taken from there. One being that it is all our original natures. I think that's something that we have forgotten, that we are actually peaceful beings, we're loving beings, we're accepting beings. That's actually our original nature, and we need to remind ourselves and each other of that. And only when we do that can now the outward action benefit people around us. So I'd like to call on, first I'd like to mention a couple of things. One is there's some themes in everybody's talks that have been very strong, and I'm sure everybody has picked it as well. Everybody has actually talked about unity. Unity amongst the African continent, but also unity amongst the people just closest to you, and across the board, really. So that's one thing that I noticed. And the other was this aspect of increasing dialogue between all parties. 3 or 4 people mentioned that, and the importance of opening dialogue and increasing the dialogue and allowing people who previously hadn't had the opportunity to have a seat at the table, to not just have a seat at the table, but to be heard. Another very interesting thing, although let me call to Brother Divine. You were saying, you raised a very interesting point, the fact that 65% of the world's arable land is in Africa, and you mentioned we need to leverage this fact. How can we leverage it without being taken advantage of, as we have seen in the past? And I must also add that, you know, all of these deals are 50-50. There's 2 people signing it. And a lot of the times, it's only after the burning that we end up blaming the other person. So please give us some input on that, because it's very important.
Thanks very much for this follow-up question. Yeah, I mean, what I forgot mentioning actually was that what prompted us at CSCYN to set it up as the Climate Smart Agriculture Network Global is because we realized in 2013 that young people were not interested in agriculture. Everybody wanted white-collar jobs, you know, being a medical doctor, you know, being an engineer. But I've made it clear and loud, and with my colleagues and my interns, that there is nobody that at lunchtime doesn't go out for food, but who produces the food? Who produces the food? So why do we have to, I mean, Africa, if we actually look, I mean, the next generation, as I'm quoting the president of the bank, African Development Bank, will be billionaires. And that's very, very true. Because just think about it, cassava alone has over 3,000 derivatives. So if I sitting here, Mr. Divine, I focus just in transforming, adding value to the cassava tubers, I'm going to be very wealthy. So I think we have all what we need. One thing I always miss when I'm traveling out of Africa is food. You know, you get to restaurant. I remember there's a story. Let me tell you this little story. I got to Brussels, and this guy tells me that, oh, this is chocolate and stuff. I said, how many cocoa farms do you have here in Brussels? You know, so the guy was like, he couldn't understand. But later on, he told me, yes, Africa is very wealthy. So for me, I mean, I wouldn't overemphasize. I think we are the young people, or this generation is not going to compromise their future for bad leadership. I'm sorry to mention bad leadership, inappropriate leadership. Our leaders today, most of them just think of their stomachs and their family members and stuff. But I'm trying to say that if we as young people, as Africans, we join efforts, because we have all what we need. We have all what we need, you know. Nigeria, I call it Adesina, says that Nigeria has oil. Yes, kerosene, you know, but you cannot eat it. You don't eat it. You don't eat petrol, but eat food. So let's all come back to transforming the broken food system. That's what I would say. And for me, I don't see any challenge in Africa. There's no challenge. We have opportunities are everywhere, everywhere. So you just have to change the mindset. And I'm happy that our mother earlier on mentioned about the concept of Ubuntu, thinking about one another, making sure that we all join efforts, we join hands. And they usually say there's a saying that if you want to go very far, join efforts, go together. If you want to go just surely go alone. So I think we have all what we need. And that's why I'll always say, I'll keep on mentioning the aspect of agriculture. The SDGs, the 17 SDGs will never be achieved if SDG 17 is not taken into consideration, which is good. Partnership for the goals. So really, I think we have all what we need to get things happen. The SDGs are not implemented, they're not going to be implemented elsewhere. It's in Africa. That's the reality. We have the space. In Belgium, there's no space to park a car. You know, but Africa will have. So let's take that and build on these various opportunities we have and these raw materials we have, and stop blaming, going through the blame game. We have all what we need. So for me, I see no challenge in Africa. The only challenge is us, ourselves. We are the one limiting ourselves. Let's stop that and make sure we build on what we have. Thank you very much, sir. Over. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, brother. So just a quick one to Miss Gloria Hingoma. You've heard what our brother Divine is saying. I hope the message will get to the youth. The future is in agriculture. And that's a very big challenge, is the youth for not too distant past have believed that wealth is only found in the city. And to be a baller, you must be in the city. So it's going to take some mind changing. And of course, that comes with the dialogue. So Miss Gloria, I hope you heard all of that. We have everything we need. The youth have all the resources that they need at their disposal, but it's definitely going to take a little shifting in that aspect. Are you with us, Gloria?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I think because we are short of time, I will not open it to the audience at the moment, because we just have 5 more minutes and we would like to complete the program. So one aspect that has been raised severally by almost everybody is this fact that one needs to have an internal realization first before an action can be effective. Like we said, it's only once we change ourselves that the world is able to transform. We have to transform ourselves first before the world transforms. And one of the most powerful ways of doing this is learning how to control your internal dialogue, your mind, and allowing your mind to work in a positive way, to be aligned in positivity, so that things aren't a challenge, but like Brother Divine said, there's always a solution. And if you are positive and connected to power, one has the other thing is one has to be powerful to perform powerful actions. So sometimes we forget that we need to take care of our inside, our mind, our internal spiritual being before we can now effectively affect the external. So I will ask Sister Pratibha, who is the country head of the Brahma Kumaris, South Africa, to guide us. One of the most powerful ways of learning how to control the mind is learning how to meditate. So Sister will give us a 5-minute meditation. And then I shall, after that, Brother Vikram Dukna will give his vote of thanks. And then I shall come back and we shall close the meeting. So Sister Pratibha, if you could please guide us in a meditation.
Good evening, everyone. And it's been lovely to have this opportunity to reflect on some very relevant questions and aspects for our continent. But just for a few moments, I invite you to settle down within yourself and take a few deep breaths. And with each breath, allow yourself to come to a place within your own being of deeper stillness and peace. We live on a beautiful continent. Every part of it has extraordinary beauty. It's diverse and rich in many ways. And in this moment, let's just bring onto the screen of our mind the beauty that our continent represents. The beautiful smiles of the children as they play, the elephants that walk through the savannah, our oceans, the grasslands, the mountains, the mineral wealth. All this beauty on the continent is a reminder. It's a reminder of the beauty of the spirit of Africa, which lies in the hearts of the people of Africa. And that beauty is seen as the spirit of Ubuntu, that original core self of peace, pure love, compassion, that spirit of generosity. A continent that has deep respect for life, guided by a deep acknowledgement and understanding of that higher divine spirit. And so let's just keep this richness in our hearts and our awareness, and feel how when we keep our hearts and our minds rich within, it fills our being with enthusiasm. It fills our being with that sense of connecting with the highest in others around us as well. It fills our being with a feeling of deep faith, a faith that helps us to see beyond the challenges, but see opportunity, to see the greatness that lies within and around us. But just hold this deep feeling within. Be anchored in this awareness of the spirit of beauty and greatness that lies at the core, that lies at the heart of the spirit of Africa, the spirit of the people of Africa, of the spirit of the divine guidance that we draw from at each day and each moment. Feel that spirit of love and light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Pratibha. I hope everybody enjoyed that experience. I shall now ask Brother Vikram to give the vote of thanks.
Hello, everyone. First of all, happy Africa Day to everyone here. And it's really very important event for us at Brahma Kumaris. So because time is running out, firstly, I would like to thank Sister Vedanti, our director of the Brahma Kumaris, for her support and blessing, because this is the first Africa Days that Brahma Kumaris is celebrating. And thank you very much, Sister Vedanti. It's good to know that we have a team here. We have Sister Lakshmi from Mauritius. We have Sister Pratibha, you just heard here. We also have Sister Pratibha from Zambia, and also the moderator, Brother Kiru, who we have worked this together as a team to bring you this program, wonderful program. And of course, there's no program without the speakers. And I'd like to thank Sister Fatima, who has brought this concept of Ubuntu, which is very, very, very interesting. And Mr. Divine, thank you very much. I know you are so busy and you have been able to take time. Thank you very much, and definitely will continue to collaborate. Also, our Sister Gloria, who has been an example for the youth. Yes, Sister Gloria, we hope to continue to have collaboration. And of course, we have representative of the ECOSOC African Union, Mr. Mahen, which will meet tomorrow for our Africa Day in Mauritius. So from Brahma Kumaris, we convey our feelings of gratitude to the ECOSOC family and for supporting in our program and also collaborating also in programs. And of course, a lot of thanks to our dear MC, Brother Kiru, who have done a wonderful job here. We also have friends from the media who is in this program. I think Brother Stephen was somewhere there. If you're here, Brother Stephen. And also we have some youth group. And of course, we like to thank everyone who has been here and in each time zone of Africa. Mauritius is already 9:30, and I know we have different time zones. So thank you very much, everyone who has been able to join this program and stay till late. We'll just ask you, we have a chat box here. You can just write your feedback, how you have see this program, so that we have an idea. So yes, and of course, we'd like to thank, obviously, God the Supreme for giving us the inspiration and the courage to move forward. So with this, I would say, God bless Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence. Please do feel free to share on the chat, like Brother Vikram has said. If you would like to find out more about meditation, just reach out to the closest Brahma Kumaris Center. And if you want to find out more about what the African Union is doing, please do the same. Reach out to the African Unions. And also feel free to reach out to the speakers, because from the post, I'm sure you can find their information. And thank you so much to the speakers for their inspired input. And in conclusion, internally, we be peaceful and loving. Externally, we be in unity and remember that agriculture is the key to Africa's future. Have a lovely evening wherever you are. Blessings, love, and peace to each and all. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.